Hello and welcome to my June budget recap. I can't believe we're already so far into summer. Our June has been pretty uneventful, but let me know if you've done anything fun this summer or if you have anything fun planned. If you're new here, we are a family of three. My husband and I are in our 30s, we both work full time, and we have a daughter who is a little bit over a year and a half. I've been tracking my budgets here on YouTube for about a year and a half as well, as we work towards paying down our debt while also saving and investing. We're hoping to get our monthly expenses down quite a bit by paying off a lot of our debts so that in the near future I can be work optional or work part-time or just be a stay-at-home mom. Now let's see how our June budget went. So first of all, we do a zero-based budget. So I've made sure that every single dollar has had a job to do and we don't have anything left to spend for the month. The reason that our bank account balance differs from our budgeted balance is because we pay for most things with credit cards, and those are about a month behind in terms of when their due dates are. I don't like to pay off our credit cards like as soon as we make purchases. I just let them go automatically and pay off in full every single month. But it is about a 1 month delay for when those purchases were made and when the card gets paid off. But that works best for us because we've never paid any credit card interest, and I don't have to worry about making any payments to our credit cards at all ever, because they're all just done automatically. And even though that makes a little bit of variance in what's on my budget spreadsheet and what's actually in my bank account, it's not a big deal because I know that those cards will get paid and everything will work out in the end. So I don't know where I left off on my budget update. It was probably somewhere after mine and my husband's first paychecks, but I don't know about all of our other spending or anything. So I'm just going to quickly go through everything. For income, I got a second paycheck. This is my gross income, so this is before any deductions come out. And so I'm usually really accurate with this because I don't have to account for any changes in taxes or other deductions that may change midway through the year. And then for my husband's paycheck, we budget off of what just actually hits our joint account, which currently is 85% of his take-home pay. So that's also mostly just an estimate, but nothing's really changed very much. It looks like it was slightly more than I had budgeted, but there's enough wiggle room in there. Now for interest, this is our interest from our high yield savings account, which gets paid out at the end of the month. So I think during my update, I only had like 10 cents of interest from my checking accounts, but now we've gotten our payout from our high yield savings account. So that was almost $60 in interest this month. After my last paycheck, I transferred $5,000 to our high yield savings account because we didn't need it just sitting in my checking account. So we have a little bit over $20,000 in our high yield savings account, and this holds our emergency fund and some of our other additional savings. I do like to keep the balances for our sinking funds in our checking account so that when our credit cards get paid, all of the money is there. So we probably have a little bit more in our checking accounts than we need to, and a little bit less in our high yield savings account than we should. I should probably keep a little bit of a tighter hold on what's in our checking account, but I don't want to face any overdraft fees, so this is the way that I do it for now. Now moving on to rewards, I think that I had got those at the beginning of the month. These are credit card rewards. They got automatically redeemed by my credit card company whenever I hit that $25 threshold. We didn't get any more this month. We're not very close either because we didn't do very much spending this month, as you'll see. I didn't get any refunds or any other income, and I wasn't expecting any. So now moving on to our savings. We like to pay ourselves first, so we really do focus on our savings goals, either first out of every budget or just first in the year. This year we did focus on contributing to last year's Roth IRA and last year's HSA, and then this year's Roth IRA and this year's HSA, and we maxed those out mostly. There's a little bit that we'll still have to contribute to the HSA for this year, but all of those were maxed out at the beginning of the year, so we're not focusing on those on a monthly basis anymore. But my 403B, which is my workplace retirement account, I contribute to that with every paycheck automatically, and it's just 4% right now. And so that was $418.44 that was contributed from my 2 paychecks this month. And then my daughter's 529, we contribute $415 every single month. We have a goal of hitting $5,000 contributed this year, and that's so that we can get a state tax break on our income taxes for our state. If we contribute more than $5,000, like there's a cap at $5,000 for how much you can get a deduction in income taxes. So that's what our goal is. And then for Acorns, I budgeted $15 for this because I always contribute $5 every month. And then we typically have 2 roundups that occur during the month, and the roundups are always just over $5. But this month we only had 1 roundup, and so we didn't quite hit that $15 goal, but that's fine. Roundups occur anytime we make purchases, so this is just another consequence of us not spending very much. We didn't get additional roundups. And so all of the other goals we didn't contribute to because I mentioned that we already hit those this year. Now moving on to our expenses. Since I budget with my gross income, you see my taxes here. I estimate that I pay about 27% in taxes, and this is Social Security, Medicare, all of that. That's a pretty close estimate. Actually, it was about $17 less that I paid in taxes, but it's better to over budget for the taxes and then have a little bit more wiggle room in our budget when we pay less. Also from my paycheck, I pay for life insurance. This is an after-tax deduction. It's a little bit over $3 every single paycheck, and this gives me 3 times my salary in life insurance. Our other expenses include car insurance. I think I went over that in my update because that always comes out at the beginning of the month. For utilities, we're on a budget billing, and so we pay the exact same amount for utilities every single month regardless of how much we use. Right now that amount is $260. It will probably be that for the rest of the year. For these past 2 months, we hadn't had the air conditioning on, and so, or the heat, and so our electric bill was actually much less than this, but we still owe the electric company quite a bit of money from when our bills were a lot higher over the winter and we were still paying just this flat amount. So in the end, everything will work out because they get pretty good at estimating our monthly usage. I think right now our estimated monthly usage is about $225, and so we're paying a little bit more than our average, but it's because we owe them so much more because they were undercharging us for quite a while, for all of last year. So eventually it will work itself out. We're not planning on moving or changing electric companies. I don't even think we can change electric companies. So we won't have to pay that extra amount at any point. And hopefully with making these payments that are a little bit extra, we will eventually hopefully get back to breaking even all the time instead of owing them extra or them owing us. Internet, I think I went over that in my update because that also comes out at the beginning of the month. It's just $34.99. For daycare, I also went over this in my update. Our daughter switched daycares this month, and I thought we were just going to pay for 1 month, but the way their billing cycle works, they charge from the middle of the month to the middle of the month. So we paid for the beginning part of June and then from mid-June to mid-July, and so our daycare expenses were about $500 more than what we expected. but that's fine because it's just because we were not sure of what their billing schedule was. It's not like they overcharged us or anything. Acorns, this is my after-tax brokerage account. This is my only subscription that I pay. It's $1 a month so that I can contribute like $10 to $15 a month in investments. And then I added this for my July budget. We're going to start paying dental premiums from my paycheck in July. So we didn't budget anything for June because I had no premiums because it starts in July, and so I didn't pay any premiums in June. Okay, now moving on to our debts. This is where we're kind of focusing, but kind of not really. We have our mortgage, that's $2,630, and this includes escrow, which covers our property taxes and homeowners insurance. We're not really planning on paying any extra towards our mortgage anytime soon because we have a really low interest rate. It's like 2.875 or something. We didn't budget or pay anything towards our truck. We paid that off in May, but it's still a line item in our budget because it was there earlier this year. My retirement account loan, this is where we're planning on focusing our debt payoff soon. Right now we're working on just saving up that money, and then we'll throw it at the retirement account loan at some point in the near future. But right now I'm just paying the minimums. That's $236.22 every paycheck. This has a 4.25% interest rate, and all of that principal and interest gets paid back to myself, to my retirement account, and all of it just gets reinvested in what I have it invested in right now. So that was exactly what we budgeted for because we didn't pay any extra. And then student loans, I probably covered this in my update because those come out at the beginning of the month. Those are $382. So now moving on to our sinking funds. This is where we do all of our spending. I changed this up in my update. It's kind of spur of the moment, unplanned, but I decided that some of these sinking funds were pretty negative. So over here, groceries was negative, health is negative, baby was negative, and so I added a little bit extra. Instead of what I had originally budgeted, I changed around my budget so that like what we were planning to contribute to gifts and travel and restaurants, like none of that we're contributing to anymore for a little while. And so I contributed everything that I had budgeted for after I changed up the budget. So that's $900 to home, $850 to groceries, $150 to car and gas, $50 to health, $50 to pets, $50 to baby, and $55 to our phone. I don't think I changed that one. And then for miscellaneous, I contributed $4.20 just because of our zero-based budget. We needed that extra $4.20 to go somewhere, so it went to our miscellaneous fund. And then the DCFSA, which is a dependent care flexible spending account. This comes out of my paycheck pre-tax, and I can use it to reimburse daycare expenses. So over the course of the year, I can contribute $5,000. That's the max that you can contribute. And then I get it reimbursed whenever we need to. I'm thinking of getting it reimbursed a little bit in July, just because our July is looking light on the income front, potentially, because my husband's expecting to only get one paycheck. So we may be spending from our DCFSA in July. We've already gotten $900 reimbursed from that, but we'll probably get the rest of it, of what we've accumulated, reimbursed in July. And then, as I mentioned, we're not actively paying down my retirement account loan. We're just kind of saving that money in our high yield savings account. We were only able to contribute $3,630 instead of the $4,000 that we budgeted. And really that was because our daycare was almost $500 more than what we budgeted, and we didn't really bring in that much extra income. We missed out on that savings goal, but that's okay because we're still able to save that up, and that's still pretty good. So now let's get into our spending. I think we actually did really well this month. There were a couple of big expenses, but we stayed under $1,000 for our variable expenses. And flipping back through my budget, we have not actually spent less than $1,000 in our variable expenses since February. So that's actually pretty good. So let's go through. We spent $260.28 in home this month, and that was for pool maintenance. We had a guy come out and look at our pool leak, and he just told us that we don't actually have a leak, even though it's obviously sucking in air. He even said that to my husband. He said, yeah, it's sucking in air when the pump is running too fast. And my husband's like, well, where is it sucking in the air from? He's like, well, I don't know. There's no leak in there. I couldn't detect the leak. So somehow it's sucking air from the water without actually having a leak. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to us. We may still get additional opinions on that, but that expense was $250 just for him to tell us that we don't have a leak, and tell us that we're sucking in air but without a leak. So tell me how that works. For groceries, we did decent on groceries. We placed an Azure standard order, which was $221.13. This is where we buy a lot of our bulk goods. We bought like 50 pounds of oats and 25 pounds of chickpeas, and then another like 25 pounds of like miscellaneous things, like spices and stuff. So it looks like we've been purchasing from Azure about every 2 months for at least $200. It's definitely saving us, I think, from purchasing from our like bulk grocery store, because the prices at our grocery store are like twice as much per pound. And so we've been buying more, so it looks more expensive, but we still have so much food that we've just been storing. So we don't really need to buy quite as much every single time. And so I think it's been saving us money in the long run. For car and gas, I spent $25 to fill up my tank once this month. It's getting pretty low now though, so I'll probably have 1 or 2 gas purchases in July. And my husband's going to start using the joint account for purchasing gas starting in July. So we'll see how that goes. I think he said he spends about $200 a month on gas. I drive a plug-in hybrid, and so I get about 100 miles per gallon. I drive about 60 miles a day. My husband drives a hybrid pickup truck. He gets like 50 to 60 miles per gallon, but he drives like more than 80 miles a day to get to work and back. He obviously needs to fill up more than I do. I also use electricity to charge my car, but it's estimated that it's about $30 a month in electricity, so I'm still spending less to fuel my car than my husband is, but I drive less than he does. We didn't spend any on health this month. No doctor's bills had to come out. Hopefully we're done with those for a while. Starting in July, we're still going to have a high deductible health care plan, but we're going to have to pay premiums, but that's not going to come out of the health sinking fund. Those will just be automatic deductions from my husband's paycheck, so we won't budget for those. We'll just be expecting a lower income from him. For pets, I bought our rabbits food. That was $27.55. It seems to be that I buy them food every 2 months. Their sinking fund is very full. I mention this every time. They have not gone to the vet yet. I'm such a bad rabbit mom. They're supposed to go every year. It's been about 1.5 years since they've gone to the vet. So I really need to get that set up. For our daughter, we had quite a bit of expenses this month. She started at the new daycare, and we needed to buy a lot of new things for her to get started there. They needed like an emergency kit. They needed very specific things. So we spent a bit at Target on her, and at REI to get her emergency food for her emergency kit. We went to Goodwill a couple of times looking for more clothes because they need a lot of extra backup clothes, both for the emergency kit and for every day. They change her a lot. So we spent quite a bit on our daughter this month, $85.43. We did have to buy her disposable diapers, so that was in the Target cost because she needed them for her emergency kit. If you don't know, she wears cloth diapers, so we really haven't had to spend very much on cloth diapers. Her daycare will require more wipes, so they've been going through about a pack of wipes a week, which is insane to me, like 10 wipes a day or more. But so we'll have to buy them more wipes. We use cloth wipes at home, so we don't have to pay for wipes here, but they wanted disposables. They wouldn't do the cloth wipes there. And we haven't spent from any other category. So our phones, I think we'll be paying our annual fee for those in August. We actually did make a gifts purchase for my niece's birthday, but we used a Target gift card. So like kind of some of what we purchased at Target was for our daughter and some of it was gifts. I think we spent about $25 on gifts, but everything was put into the baby sinking fund, even though that one's negative and the gift one isn't. So I really should change that. But I think actually we made that gift purchase on like May 31st or whatever. So it wasn't even a June expense anyway, but we had used up our Target gift card and then we needed to go to Target for our daughter. And yeah, we didn't eat out at all. We didn't do anything fun. Well, we went to the library. We always go to the library. That's fun for us. We may have probably walked around the park a little bit. It's been really hot, like over 100 degrees the past couple of weeks. It's kind of cooled down a little bit, so we haven't really been able to get outside and do anything fun. But we do have a swimming pool at home, so that's entertainment that's basically free besides all of the maintenance that I have to do on it. So it's not like we're just sitting around doing nothing. We do have things that we do, but we don't spend money on it. We didn't have any miscellaneous purchases. I was considering putting my daughter's, we had to buy her a birth certificate to prove that she was born for us updating our benefits through work. I was going to put that in miscellaneous, but I ended up just putting it in baby as well because it seems like that was more fitting. So that was all of our spending for June. Can't believe we spent less than $1,000. That's pretty crazy. We haven't done that since February, even though we had those expenses come up with starting new daycare. I think we did really well on our grocery budget. That's usually the one that we go way over on. But we are getting the CSA vegetables, which we paid for last month, and so that's really helping us to save on our like weekly produce budget. Although we didn't really buy a lot of produce previously, we are just now getting to eat a lot more now that we're getting the CSA, which is really exciting because I love to have a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. We just never really do because of the cost. We buy a lot of frozen vegetables, and really any good fresh produce that we do get goes to our daughter because she really needs it. Comparing our budgeted spending to our actual spending, because the daycare expenses were a little bit higher than expected, we ended up paying more in fixed expenses than we had budgeted, and so we had to contribute less to our singing funds in that other savings category. But overall, I think we did pretty well this month. So that's everything for my June budget. Let me know how your June went and what you're looking forward to most in July. I'm hoping that we will be able to get some swimming in. It's been rainy the past couple of days with some thunderstorms, but it's also been really, really hot prior to that. So, and I'm only home, 3 days a week to swim with our daughter, but I'm really hoping that she's going to really start to enjoy the pool. We'll be going over to my parents' house this weekend, and they also have a pool. I think my dad put the pool in when I was about 7 years old, and I just remember that being the best part of summer, spending all day, every day, all summer long out in the pool. And my dad was also a stay-at-home dad from the time I was about 10 onward, and so it was always really nice to just always be able to be home with him all summer, not having to go to daycare or be home alone or whatever, have babysitters. So I really hope to be able to give that to our daughter as well as we work towards paying off our debt and lowering our monthly expenses. Then hopefully I should be able to become a stay-at-home mom. That's really my top goal right now. But that's everything for my budget for this month. If you're interested in seeing more of our family's journey as we work towards paying off debt, reducing our monthly expenses, and navigating a whole bunch of changes that will be coming up soon, then please hit subscribe because I would love to have you follow along. Thank you for being here.